Kia ora, Capricorn. This is your reading for this full moon in Scorpio. It's the 15th of May today. Excuse me, so technically I guess it's sort of early hours, isn't it? Tomorrow morning, when it's at its peak. Full moon solar eclipse in other parts of the world, not in the southern hemisphere. All of South America, I think, will see it. Maybe the eastern part of America and Europe. So pretty amazing to see. So let's see what's happening today. These are really general readings, of course. Let's just see what's happening with Capricorn. Okay, so we've got the Nine of Wands coming out. Nine of Wands. We understand the aspect of the Nine of Wands within ourselves, because I think all of us have it, you know, that sort of default defense, always in defense mode. But let's keep going. I mean, this could be in relation to anything at this time. We will clarify. We've got, let's see, a couple more cards here. We have the beautiful Strength. So we start with this wounded warrior kind of archetype, really. And the Nine of Wands. Maybe there are reasons to be defensive right now for you in your world. I mean, you're really doing a fine job, a fine and dandy job here with the Strength card. It's called Lust in the Thoth deck. But the principles and meanings to a degree are still the same as in other, decks that possibly you're more familiar with. We overcome something in here. We have overcome something. Many different aspects of the same thing, actually. We understand the different aspects of our own sort of head space and what goes on up there, and how it sort of lands when ideas, thoughts, opinions, differences are expressed. Communication, I guess, generally. We understand that in the Strength card. We've really tamed some elements in there. Three of Wands we have coming after that. There's been an understanding, clearly an understanding. Sorry, Capricorn, just grab those. And we are, setting out on a path that we really don't feel that there's anything up ahead that really detracts us from where we want to go, which is the sure-footed, the sure-footed goat. We'll continue up that hill, however high it may be. And might be flying a little bit faster than normal. We've got the Knight of Swords. Very direct, very swift, and very targeted. There's quite a single-minded focus here. And you're free to be single-mindedly focused. You're free within that. We often look at this Nine of Wands as a sort of dampening of the spirit in that card. Because, and a dampening of movement as well. But in this particular reading, I don't really see it as that. I see it as the It's been a process of understanding what that is within yourself, that Nine of Wands, and you have understood it, I think. So let's just go through Capricorn, and we'll clarify a little bit with the Nine of Wands here, so that we have understood it. And we've allowed, how would you say, you know, yes, it's been a balancing act. We've got the Two of Discs. The decisions made that I think are not necessarily have been made, but will be made, that are not necessarily based on that, because you understand it now. That's what I'm trying to say, right? Two of Discs, keeping things in balance. I think Capricorn, oh, I've got cramp. I think Capricorn has been keeping things in balance for quite a while there's been a lot of movement around you. But you're very firm about where you're at. So that's the best thing. Just look at strength here. Look at lust. The lust card. Again, we get the Three of Wands. So it's in the understanding. It's like you've applied, I don't know whether this makes sense, but you've applied the understanding of the outer world with an understanding of your inner world. And by doing that, it's sort of like translating the external, the internal, and what's the thing what's that ground in between the two? What does that show you? What does that, you know what I mean? That's sort of what I'm getting from this. What new things does that allow you? New things to choose or be or do? Do you know what I mean? I don't know, I'm a bit tongue-tied today. I don't know why. Three of Wands. So we've got the Three of Wands twice. We understand. And possibly this just fell out. Ten of Wands. We understand what it was that we needed to release, whatever that is. Not necessarily one specific thing. It could be a collection of things. It could be a way of doing what we did or do in the past, a release of that, because obviously once you get to 10, that's sort of it, you know. We have the Knight of Swords again. Clean sweep, moving through. Can we have another card for that Knight? So we get an understanding. We've got the Hierophant. Now, I always look at this as being sort of allowed an opening. Would you say a way out? Not really, not a way out, but an opening. Key to the doorway. Look, to me, all of this speaks of learning something here and translating the external in combination with the internal to, you've understood how you meet, if that makes sense. I don't know, this is just what I get. So the Hierophant to me is sort of, it's hidden knowledge, you know. Classically, it's about the church. It's the old term, the Pope, in this card, that institution, sort of rigid structure, you know. You've worked with institutions, you've worked with, there's a, either within them or worked or had to deal with them or whatever. But you've effectively translated that and made it work for you, if that makes sense. With that, we have the Four of Swords, the card of respite, healing, all of that great stuff where we have rest. And within that zone is where we get the often pennies dropping. And we understand. It's all pretty general, I know, but that seems to be the gist of this reading today for you, Capricorn. We'll get a Brian Froud Pixie and Fairy card. You know, and some, like, you're not necessarily going to be, you know, there are some things that are personal things, aren't they? And you're not necessarily going to be, excuse me, exposing those to the wider world or the wider community or anything like that. Like, there are certain things that are personal to us all, of course. I just say that we've got the Hog Job coming out, which actually can be sort of like a Nine of Swords, can be that sort of undue worry for no apparent reason, you know, just the catastrophic kind of thing. But with that, you know, the common sense of the Capricorn will always shine through. And you'll always find something in that world around you that you can use, won't you? You do. That you use to your benefit. And that's not in a superficial way or a kind of usy way. It is the Capricorn archetype. We have the bright mother. This fur-laden, feather-flapping, you know, goddess, actually, that people look to. You know, the kind of creator and the, you know, give with one hand, take with the other, or, you know, it's just like the natural balance of things, of life, isn't it? With this beautiful, you know, goddess figure, actually. Very solid foundation. Now, a lot of people in your life rely on that. I mean, rely on that from you, Capricorn. And in some ways, you show them what the direction actually is in this Three of Wands, what that direction is. It isn't like there's a sense in here of carrying others. And, you know, when I was talking about the, you know, translating or creating something from the external in relation to your internal. Now, I was just speaking in metaphors here. So we get the Magician coming out. We've got all these cards that just came out. But when I speak of that external, internal, we see it here. I'm not quite sure how to describe it. Central point. Arvel Parrot is that character. This is sign language. It's intangible, but it is understanding a semaphore, somehow in the central point, and it's coming from a very honest place. It's beautiful. You know, it's like heart and head have been, in this beautiful balance where we have just a wonderful shining diamond there at the will center. But it is about understanding signs and signals, semaphores, sign language, that kind of thing. That Arval parrot is in between these two. And there's sort of, in some ways, there's kind of a face-off going on. We've got Epona's Wild Daughter. I mean, I love these cards. They're just so gorgeous. Which is about really going back through the annals, if that's the correct annals of time. Like shadows, you know, like your own shadows and shadows of those around you. You understand. You've gone, you've been, you've visited, you've come back. And then we have Lace the Moon's Daughter. It's about looking ahead. Now, is it a face-off? Well, actually, it's a kind of that way, in fact, in the way that they came out. Been there, done that. Lace the Moon's Daughter, illumination. An understanding moving forward. Being able to see very clearly. And in some ways, you know, when I say people rely on you, but that's not a burden for you anymore. Somewhere in here, you got rid of the burden. And it was to do with something else. Capricorn, not quite sure what, but it was to do with something else. Now, let's get one of these light. Speaking of furs and feathers, something light and fluffy from the Art Oracle deck for you, Capricorn. Let's see. What have we got today? What have we got? Wow. Wow. Beautiful. Oh, I thought that said some other card stuck to it, but beautiful. It had to come out at some point. Vincent van Gogh or Van Gogh, whatever way you choose to say it. So what are these three little sayings on here? Work, life, and inspiration. So what's Vincent saying? If committed, stay committed. Posthumous recognition requires a paper trail. Well, that's true. And inspiration, use the daylight to face the night. This couldn't be more pertinent, you know. Where did I put those cards? Oh, they seem to have disappeared into into Shadowland. But, you know, Lace the Moon's Daughter, Lace the Moon's Daughter, Epona's Wild Daughter, you know, they're both part of each other, the light and the dark. So I think that's great. Use the daylight to face the night. Beautiful. On that note, Capricorn, thanks for joining me. I hope you got something out of that today, and take good care over the next week. We'll see you soon. Ka kite. Bye. Cheery.